servant. So when we come to understanding our motivation, I want you to think about it like this, because I understand that in many of the accounts, when we're in oppressed positions, when we're thinking about how are we going to get the bills paid, how are we going to take care of this, how are we going to take care of this, we really don't have time to think about other people per se. And if we do, we may think about it more so kind of like in passing, but the forefront of what we focus on is our day to day, which is why it's very important, why it's important for us to be whole. It's why it's important for us to be financially whole. Why it's important for us to be physically whole. Why? Because now these are matters that are no longer on the forefront, a concern that now has that drives the way that I'm thinking. I can now focus on things outside of that. But now also why I'm whole and who I am. You know, I have a strong gift of administration, or I have a gift of being a teacher or an exhorter. I recognize that that's a signpost to what you're calling me to do. And then I recognize that the character that I'm developing, that is the refining process of that purpose. So what I'm saying is our purpose and what we're all called to do is not something that when we identify it, it just happens overnight. It's a process. And when does the process start? Technically, the process starts when we're brought into this world. Now, just because, and you might say, well, into this world, well, how is that possible? It's possible because the seed that was brought into you for that purpose was given to you when you were brought into this world. Now, what does it look like? What is the perspective that we could give and say, what is our world and look like in association to that? Real simple. Everybody has a purpose. Our husbands, our wives, our children, everyone has a purpose. Imagine it being where you started on a journey and you were handed a bag of seeds. And with these seeds, you now have the ability to plant these seeds, to harvest them. And then when they're harvested, they can create a tree, it can create a vineyard, an orchard, however, based on you planting these seeds. Now imagine one, if you were given these seeds and you immediately began to plant them. And then imagine another, you were given these seeds and you just kind of put them in a little Ziploc bag and just kind of walk around with them for forever. Really do nothing much with them. And so as a result, does that mean that you don't have a seed? No, you still have the seeds. The now the matter is that I plant them. And so most of us, we live our life where we're holding it, we're carrying the seed, we're carrying the seed that is in us, but they're not planted because of life situations, what's going on. And what's in us, that's greater in us, that's to come out of us, as we begin to identify that, we recognize that this is not just a desire because of, I just have a heart for it. Whatever you wake up with, whatever wakes you up that moves you, whatever wakes you up that you have a strong feeling about, that you say, man, I see something that's a problem and something needs to be done about that. That could be a signpost, or I should say that is a signpost to what it is you're called to do. Now, with that signpost, I need to understand now what again is an entrepreneur. Number one, the definition of an entrepreneur is simply someone who finds or sees a problem and creates a solution. That's it. Okay, that has nothing to do with starting an LLC, building a business, nothing. That could be in a nonprofit organization. That could be something that you're doing within your job, working with individuals, seeing a problem, creating a solution to that problem. Okay, that could be you seeing something in the education industry and saying, hey, I see something in making that better. Okay, these are all a signpost to purpose, but that's a spirit of entrepreneurship. And so when we think about it, when we look at when we think of entrepreneurship, it's no longer to say I'm not an entrepreneur. No longer should we say that's not me, or he's the entrepreneur and he's not. We are all have entrepreneurship in us. It's now, is the entrepreneur in me cultivated, or is it just that seed? And now that's the question to begin to think about. Some of us may say, you know what? Yeah, it's the seed, or it's a little cultivated. And some of us, we get it. Now, you might be asking, for some of you, you might say to yourself, well, if it's a seed, man, I've spent a lot of time not doing anything. Is it too late? It's never such thing as too late. And so now that you're aware of it, And now that you see something with it, the question is now, what are you going to do about it? And